Good morning. I'm Caitlin with Wiregrass Daily News, and I'm here with Mr. Casey Mack, who is running for Enterprise City Council District 2. Good
Correct.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in this morning.
Absolutely.
So Casey, first question is, what do you see as the primary responsibilities of a council member?
Well, as a council member, you need to represent the people. Because when we talk about the city, really, you can talk about the city being equal to people. And we're in the people business, so you need to represent their interests. You need to make sure we're good stewards of resources. We need to be transparent, open, and honest. And that's what a councilman's major role should be.
What specific skills or experiences do you bring to the table that will make you an effective council member?
So I've worked at Troy University. This will be my 18th. So I manage a program that's very wide and complex, 27 counties for the state of Alabama. Uh, we enrolled 25,000 this year alone. So a lot of people to deal with. Um, we employ 300 to 400 instructors at any given time. So there's a lot of communication that takes place, and that's paramount. A lot of information, very complex network, but you're talking strategic plan, you're talking program evaluation, budgets, human resources, staffing. So all those things I think are transferable attributes that is a skill that would be great to have, in city leadership.
How do you plan to work with other council members to achieve consensus on key issues?
But as I just mentioned, I have thousands of people that fall under some sort of influence every single day. Not everybody agrees with us in processes and protocols, but if you're upfront and honest and you're genuine and show people that you really care and have an end in mind, you can kind of accomplish anything. So not only from my area, but we deal with the University of Alabama. We deal with Madison City Schools. They're our partners in this organization. And it just takes some respect that goes a long way. And everyone understanding that everybody wants what's best for everybody.
How do you plan to involve the community in decision making and ensure that their voices are heard?
The city council is open to the public. My email's been posted. My phone number's been posted. I've been out knocking doors to establish a rapport with people. I want to be available. I want to make sure that I understand the needs of the community and the people. My grandmother always said, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you got to do a lot of listening. And going back to my career, that many people that I deal with on a daily basis and yearly, I do a lot of listening because you're only as good as your inputs to create an end user experience for people.
How do you plan to support local economic development and attract new businesses to the region?
It's very important. Economic development, there's a effect that's widespread. It goes well beyond just the initial part, but kind of 2 things that I would like to see happen in the city of Enterprise. One is attract unmanned aerial system technology. That's kind of the wave of the future for the military. One of we call him our adopted son. He lives with us, and he's an aircraft mechanic, training to be actually in Ozark through Enterprise State. He's employed at Sikorsky, and that's great. But if the military is going to be moving towards unmanned aerial systems, then we need to get with the community colleges and those who teach these skills. We need to be teaching the next wave of the future as far as maintenance. If it flies, we want to maintain it. That's kind of our MO in this part of the region. Also, another thing that I think we could investigate looking at is data centers. Now, I'm not talking about large scale data centers that are hundreds of acres, but there's something called co-location centers where you embed them inside of shopping centers. You sell or lease these properties that may be underused or dilapidated to these companies. They come in and refurbish them. They provide a lot of maintenance, a lot of infrastructure, bandwidth, internet speed. So it serves the community in that way, not to mention creates jobs.
What are your priorities for improving infrastructure in the district?
So the city already has a plan that's been implemented as far as infrastructure, roadways, uh, water and sewer lines. It's pretty comprehensive. I plan to support that wholeheartedly. The city of Enterprise grew from 2020 to 2024 as far as the census 7%. Well, in a community our size with 25, 30,000 people, you do the math on it, and that's 2,500 uh, people. Well, you do families of four, just rough math, that's 600 housing units. Every house having two cars on average, 1,200, 1,300 cars. So not only do we need to take care of the things for today, but we need to start planning on things for tomorrow. Um, I have a lot of faith in the Public Works Department. They have a great plan in place. Uh, as far as paving roads and such, they're making sure that the water and the sewer lines are taken care of first. They don't want to pave a road and then have to tear it up. So being good stewards and planning effectively, and I plan on being a part of that.
How do you plan to ensure that public services are accessible, efficient, and adequately funded?
Well, that's paramount. You know, first responders are super important. Uh, you may not think so until you really need one. So we want to make sure that we're triaging our needs. You have needs and wants. And first responders are definitely a need. We got to have the best. I think we need to recruit better. I think there's some initiatives in place that we can do that. And then we want to retain them. That's another important step in the process. You can get someone there, but you need to keep them. So we want to make sure that we have the right people, we have good people. And as far as equity is concerned, um, I don't know that our city has a major problem. You know, we have minority leadership already in the school system. We have minority leadership in the city. So I would like to think that the city of Enterprise does a good job of that. But if there are instances that arise, they need to be addressed immediately.
What is your plan to improve public safety in the district while ensuring equal treatment of all residents?
Kind of going back to the growth that I mentioned, the census data. So, first responders, super important. We got to prioritize that. Goes back to that recruitment initiative I mentioned, the retention initiative I mentioned. So we got to make sure, as far as public safety is concerned, that we're putting boots on the ground, that we have an adequate amount of staff that kind of parallels the growth and the citizens as far as our head count. We don't want to be understaffed. We want to have the right people and the right amount of people. We would like to have a representation across the board from all walks of life. Um, can we do that? I'm not sure. But, you know, at the end of the day, if we're trying and people see that we're trying, I think that goes a long way.
How do you plan to collaborate with local law enforcement and community organizations to address crime and community safety?
Uh, Community safety is paramount. That's something that we've always prided ourselves on at Enterprise, having a safe community. We have an attractive community, uh, trying to keep crime down. Uh, you know, no neighborhood is immune to crime. Uh, you like to get the citizens involved. You know, if the citizens are involved and being proactive, uh, they can notice things a lot faster than a police officer can respond. So if we can kind of head things off before they get started, I think that's the best way to kind of mitigate the crime or the rise of crime in our city.
How will you address environmental sustainability within your role as a council member?
That's an interesting question. You know, I think green technology, as far as windmills, solar panels, things of that nature, I'm not against it. I'm all for it in the right use. I have friends that have electric cars. I think they're pretty cool, as a matter of fact. But here's a different take on it. So, in the city, we've decided several years ago, the current council, to take on blight in our city. So, dilapidated properties that are hazardous. So, we've sought out grant funding to take those properties down. So, we've created green spaces. So, now you have green space that's there. But also now you have property that can be utilized and be redeveloped. That keeps us from pushing the envelope as far as the city limits, getting into farmland, getting into forest space. We like to preserve that. I'm a hunter. I'm a fisherman, so I'm a conservationist at heart. But I'd like to see us redevelop these properties that are already made for that.
What is your plan for supporting education in the district, especially for underfunded schools or communities?
Uh, I'm in the world of education for university. That's something that's near and dear to me. I think the city school system at Enterprise is second to none. I think you have people who are attracted and they move to Enterprise just for that. So we want to maintain that status across the state. We want to maintain it in the Wiregrass. I think if we are attractive and supportive of the school system, that that attracts people, and then as we attract people, uh, that's going to give us more resources as we continue down that path. And we want to make sure that the kids have what they need. We want to be supportive of that. We want to involve civic groups and organizations to kind of bridge the gaps if there are any. We want to work with the current administrators at our schools and in the superintendent's office, because if we don't know about it, we can't help.
How will you work to ensure that there are adequate resources and programs for the youth in your community?
Parks and Rec and Enterprise has got a major upgrade in the past year or two. We've spent money to ensure that quality of life for kids out there to have safe places to play. Blake Moore and his staff there in Enterprise do a phenomenal job. The new rec center is great. It's a feather in the cap. We need those facilities, but not everybody wants to play ball. I'm a football, baseball kind of guy, but there's kids that just don't care for that. But we need to connect people with our junior college, Enterprise State. They have camps and initiatives for kids. We have Fort Rooker that has STEM programs for kids. We have at Troy University Best Robotics, where kids build robots and compete. So it kind of takes all kinds in this life, and we need to make sure we're serving all the kids and providing opportunities for them. They're out there. We just need to make sure everybody knows about them, because you don't know what you don't know. So you can't participate in something if you don't know it's available.
What initiatives will you support to address mental health and addiction issues in the district?
Mental health, the first thing you got to do is remove the stigma. And as a man, I know that you're taught to be tough and not cry and all those things. And there's a time and place for it, though. I'm not a mental health professional by any stretch of imagination, but we do have great people that are equipped to handle that. Addiction is another thing that affects so many people. I think most families have someone somewhere that they know that is affected. There again, we got to connect those people with the right folks. There are services out there for people to get help, and we just need to remove the stigma. We need to work with our local churches. I think they do a great job. Celebrate Recovery is one program that the Methodist Church downtown operates. It's been successful. It's not just about addiction. There's all types of other, they call it habits and hangups. And you need to have people an outlet where they can find help. And there again, making sure people are aware that there's places that they can get help is part of the battle.
How do you plan to address homelessness in the district, and what role will local government play in providing solutions?
That's a really complex issue. One, I think you need to identify the type of homeless people that you're dealing with. You have people who have hit a bump in the road and are really looking for a hand up, not a handout. You have people who are chronically homeless by choice, and that's just what they're going to do. Unfortunately, you can't make someone do something, but there are organizations in town that do help the homeless population. We want to continue to support those civic groups. Also, going back to the economic initiatives, providing opportunities for jobs for those who really want help, and then they can help themselves as we help them get established and have a safe place to lay their head at night.
What measures will you take to ensure equal access to government services for all community members?
There again, your identity should not dictate how you're treated. I believe you treat everybody the same way. You treat people with kindness and respect, with dignity. It takes all kinds in this world. Uh, that's something that I care about. Care about people being represented in the right way. I would hope that we don't have those problems in the city of Enterprise, but I know that humans are, they're fallible. That's something that we'll address if there's instances that come up, and make sure that we provide the right training and support for people who deal with the public.
How do you plan to ensure transparency in your decision making and in the allocation of resources?
The city's done a great job kind of in the past 10 years of making sure information is posted online. The council meetings are online, they're live streamed, the transcripts are there, the budget information is posted there. So if you want to know, there's availability for that. But if someone wants to have a further in-depth conversation, I'll be available. I'm easy to find. My email's out there, my cell phone's out there. I'm already public in this world, so I don't mind having those conversations. I deal with hard conversations all the time, based upon my job. Sometimes it's the answer people want to hear, sometimes it's not. But at the end of the day, you just got to tell the truth, and you got to be open and honest and upfront about things.
Why are you running for a city council member, and what motivates you to serve in this capacity?
So the current serving council member, Mr. Eugene Goolsby, he decided he's not going to run again. He said it's time for him to retire. You kind of sit back and you hear that, and have leadership that's known and been there and done that, and you wonder to yourself, well, who's going to do it? At some point, our generation has to step forward and be accounted. We can't rely on the previous generation to tote the note for us. So that's one of the reasons. Number two, I think skill set that I have just through my professional experience and some of my personal experience as well, I think translate well. What motivates me to serve in the capacity, I grew up with family who serves. My grandfather was in charge of the benevolence fund at church. So I used to ride around as a kid with him. We did something called Meals on Wheels, where we would take food to the shut-ins and the elderly. I remember going to the grocery store with him and buying sacks of groceries for people who couldn't afford it. I remember taking clothes to people. So that was something that was ingrained in me as I was, really young. That's something that I've seen through my parents, helping people. They don't broadcast it, and that's something that I really appreciate. Doing things for people without the recognition, I think is something that is lost in our world now with social media and things, and people want a camera on them at all times to tell what they're doing. But I think the best things you do for people are ones that go unspoken.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Casey, and good luck with your election.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.